Benny, he really responds to a ball. Hi, I'm Zoran and Today, we're going to be talking about 7 to 8 expectation or command words. The reason why we use command words or expectation words, this is what's expected of the dog during the day. Sit is probably one of the ones that we use the most. So Benny might sit 20, 30 times a day. The reason why we use sit is because sit will keep him more under control. Because if he's not sitting, he might be jumping on someone or going through a door. Sit, sit, good boy. And then we pet him all the time. Down, down, let's go, down. Good boy. Down is a little bit harder to do than sit, because usually if your dog is a dominant dog, down is more submissive. So we always start with sit first. Sit is one of the easiest commands to use with the most control. Later on, we would introduce down after, but at the beginning, we would always go to sit. Stay is the next one, stay. The goal is to be 6 feet away from him, 30 seconds. That's one of the first goals, is to be able to do that. And that means we would teach him stay before he eats, he stays. Before he goes out the door, he stays. So it goes back to keeping him under control so we can keep him safe in a human environment. And a human environment to the dog is an artificial environment. He doesn't know the dangers in it. So stay and sit, sometimes you combine them together, which gives you more control over the dog for safety reasons. Some people will use down instead of off. So if Benny was to jump on me or jump on a sofa or go somewhere that we don't want him to go, some people would say get down. But then that confuses the dog with lay down. So if he's jumping, it's off. If he's on a furniture that you don't like, it's off. Okay, that's number 4. So the next command is go. Use go after we would teach Benny down. Because we would never say go over there and sit. We would usually say go lay down. At the beginning, we try to use single syllable commands. And then later on, we can put it in a string, like go and lay down. So if I'm walking down the street and there's all kinds of things on the ground, that's one of the times that I would use leave it. Or if I have something in my hand, leave it. I would teach Benny not to touch it. Or if a child walks by or someone has something in their hand, you're telling Benny to leave it. Leave it. And then when he does leave it, you would pet him. You always pet him after you use an expectation word or command. Good job. So leave it. It teaches the dog, don't touch it. It's different if I give it to him now. The next one that we would use is out, out. That means, for me, is out of your mouth. Good boy. Some people might use drop it, release. For me, I use out. It's short, single syllable words, and it's more direct. It's out versus, drop it. But that doesn't mean you can't use drop it. It just means out works better for me. So if I want Benny to have it, I would say, okay. Then I would say out. Good boy. And then leave it. So you notice that he looks at me, okay, go ahead, you can have it. But he would always look to me for what's expected, more for safety reasons versus as being a dictator or tyrant. Out, sit. Good job. Leave it. One of the really important command words is come or here. This is the only time that I would use Benny's name. I wouldn't use Benny's name for sit, stay, down, go, because then I would be overusing his name. I want Benny's name to mean come here. So the only time I would use his name is here or come. So if Benny's over there, I would say, Benny, he would say, yeah. I'd say, come here, and he would come over here. If I did that and only use his name for that command, his name would mean come here. I don't teach a dog recall. I'm thinking, why wouldn't he not want to come because when he comes over, it's going to be amazing. He always gets lots of affection, and his name means come here. But some people might use his name for a lot of different reasons. So for me, his name should only be used to come here. So let's see. Over here, Benny. Sit. Stay. Benny, come here. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. So you notice how he finishes with a sit. There's a process for some of the commands. At the beginning, we're using the commands for safety reasons. Eventually, we have to become fun. So if I'm going to teach Benny, I would do it with this game. We would use a ball. This is how we would play. I would say sit. He would sit. Good boy. Then I would pet him. And then I would hold the ball over here. So me and him are playing. And then when he looked at me, then I would give it to him. So that would be sit, stay. And to teach him out, I would say out. Good boy. And then I would pet him, and then I would use leave it. In this game, we're actually teaching him 4 things. It's sit, stay, out, and leave it. And there's different ways you can play this game. But at the beginning, we would only teach him sit, stay, until he understands that for maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe a month. Once he understands sit, stay, then we can move on to more complicated commands. But we have to start off with simple, small increments of success, whatever that is for Benny. And when I got Benny, Benny didn't know anything. He didn't know how to say, know how to do anything. So we had to start off with something that would make him successful. And most of the time, you start with sit, because it's one of the easiest things to teach a dog. Yes, the tone of your voice makes a lot of difference. Some people might tell the dog, sit. It's just sit. We're trying to make it short and more direct, depending on the situation. So if I'm just playing with him in the park, I might not say sit. But if I'm around people, I may use a more quicker, direct command because of the situation. So if he's sniffing around the park and he's going to touch a stick or something that may not be safe for him, I will say more firmly, leave it. But that doesn't mean I have to yell. You can be firm but fair. You can be a warm demander. So depending on the situation is how you would use the command. But at the beginning, we use the command sit, out. And then as the situation arises, then you would put in your tone. The reason why we use the 7 or 8 basic commands or expectation words, we're trying to teach your dog how to live with us. And these commands will give him some structure so he knows what's expected and what's not expected. This will provide some harmony with us. So if he's not sitting, he might be jumping through the door or jumping on someone. So we have to teach him somehow with some commands to be able to live with us. It's to teach a dog boundaries and what's expected in our daily routine, which will be my habit. If I use the words enough times, it'll be his habit. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them below.